Also, I noticed on the credits too was Tat cut that shit up money. Why did you why did you decide to add that on this album of all albums?
Tech cut the shit up money. That was producer. That was the manager that did that. Actually, I didn't. I had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
It was all because people were like they were like saying all kind of stuff like what does TAT stand for, and I would never really divulge what that was all about. So I was just like, all right, they're coming up with what they want, thousands and thousands, touching all titties. You know, it was a lot of a lot of acronyms to it. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. Then he came up with. He used to say it in the studio, as a matter of fact. Now that you say that, he'd be like, Tat, cut the shit up money. Damn. Like, you always come through in the clutch. So he was just always amazed, like, how masterful, I would come through with, making this shit work. You know what I mean? Making the sound all come together, sonically. He was just kind of amazed about that. So that's how the name came about.
Okay. And then this album too has the analogy of a black man on there. When I think that H. Rap Brown at the beginning, the speech. So, so that was also a big departure because in '89 the political conscious rap was bigger, but it was also getting more street, more gangster, and not going steady because that was all about a relationship and being monogamous and all these things.
Right.
That were starting to become not popular. So,
right.
When you guys did the Go and Steady video, for instance, how did that, like your visibility is bigger than ever, even though now on the Go and Steady album, you have a female on the cover instead of even Steady B. So I got too many questions. I'm melding all together. So first of all, why did you have a woman? Why did you guys decide to have the woman on there instead of Steady B?
Let's just say too many hamburgers, too many late night meals at what was that place called? TNT's, something like that. Yeah, it was a lot going on. Food at night, 2:00 in the morning, go to sleep. So. Yeah, that was kind of what happened there. So it's like, all right, you know what? Let's put a nice female on there to draw the guys into it. Ice-T did it. That was kind of their idea. That was all them. So
Okay.
we had some pictures, but the pictures were,
All right.
Clothes might be a little tight.
And then what about in the video? How did that, you had the serious video, which is very different sonically, thematically, visually, everything that Going Steady. So when you did the Going Steady video, what impact did that have on you guys, especially since it was a different type of song for Steady B?
So again, we just really roll with the vibe. It wasn't like a hardcore record. So you're speaking to your females. And I mean, young men, you're in the game, you're in the business. It's obviously two sides to the coin. You know what I'm saying? You got males, you got females. And we were trying to appeal to the females, of course, being that the alpha male situation. You know what I mean? So that was right up our alley, to be honest. And you think about like LL did it, Houdini did it. You know what I'm saying? So, the little love song or what have you. So it was a concept record that we kind of like patterned behind them in a sense, the one love and all that. And I need love. So he was a big LL fan. Steady was. So this record, it kind of came out of the blue. We didn't sit down and go, let's make I need love. It wasn't like that per se. But it was kind of like, a marker. You know what I mean? Like we knew because that record was huge. And management said something about it. It was like, wow, look how big this record. We hated that record. You know what I mean? At the time, we young bucks. We didn't want to hear no slow jam. When I'm alone in my room, man, we want to hear that young buck. You know what I mean? We was youngsters. So we was kind of like, but the females wanted to hear it. So big up to, you know, Russell and, you know, the producers over there, you know, LL, of course, because they killed it. And from what I understand, he didn't want to do it.
Right.
So,
All right.
but
Well,
one of his biggest records ever.
okay. Well, with the analogy of a black man, back to that, with the H-Rap Brown and starting off the album super political when that's not something Steady B was or what you guys were known for. How did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the Public Enemy. You know, that was that, like you said, that time, that era. So KRS, you know, was like, all right, let's get it. And the beads and the freaking the medallions. It was just signing the times, you know, for lack of a better term. But that was really what that was about. And he morphed into that whole black activist kind of situation. Being as though he had that strong voice and all that too. So it was like, all right, there's a purpose. Let's see Steady with a purpose. You know, instead of just, you know, I could, you know, wax all these MCs, blah 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 blah. But you know, he's come with a purpose at this point. So that was kind of dope to hear the thinking Steady B. You know what I mean? What was on his mind?
Yeah. And also on the album, we have Attitude Problem, which has a few things I'm interested in. But for you on the scratching side of things, I love you're kidding, no, I'm not with the response thing. So that was always something that I think we've lost, sadly, because we don't have as much scratching on songs and albums like we used to. But how the scratches would tell their own story or be like they were talking and stuff. So do you remember conceptually, you know, how you fit that together or why it worked the way it did?
That was actually my plan from the gate. That was the plan. The plan was for me to, you know, tell a story with my hands, or tell a story with the songs and let them talk to you. So I just thought it was fly, opposed to just like cutting a noise or something like that. It was a way to let the people hear my voice, you know, through cutting. So again, I was scratch tutorial. So it was all about like, this is what can be done. Since we have the podium, we got the platform. Let me show you what can be done with this. And a lot of people I've heard, you know, have said, yo, I practiced to your records and you scratch. I'm like, great, because that's what it was for. That's really what I did them for. It's really what I try to change all the different, you know, scratches and cadences up so that you get like, damn, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, damn, that's something different. Look at, oh, wow. That was the whole idea of it, to take it somewhere different every record and try not to repeat.
Okay. So then Attitude Problem also, this is 3 Times Dope a lot. So what happened and what was going on at the time?
So that was, you know, the perils of the music industry, you know. So basically, at that time, there was a situation that probably happens to a lot of artists, and they realized, with my help, that you know, monies weren't being appropriated properly. You know what I'm saying? So, and they didn't want to believe it. You know, they were really like in the dark, as most artists are. And at the time, like I did say a little while ago, I was a little frustrated because I wasn't happy as far as like, all right, well, what happened? What's my name? What happened? That record was dope. What the fuck happened? You know, that record should have popped. That record should have been the gold record. It should have been the one. That's what I thought. With the right push, and we sat down and combed over every song. It was like, this record, this is a hit. It's a gold record, hands down. It's a gold record. And when it wasn't, and it was like, all right, back to the drawing board, and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? Back to the drawing board. We just shot a freaking load on this. Like, seriously? Like, all right, I don't think it's getting any better than that. In any event, 3 Times Dope, they caught on. You know, they got caught wind of what was going on. It was like, all right, well, you're making show money, and where's the royalty money, and where's this money, and mechanicals and blah, 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 blah. Publishing, and nobody knew anything about it. I knew about it, but nobody else in the camp really knew. And then they started getting educated. Then they started talking to different people. And, now it's like, oh, wow, wait a minute. And they realized that the stuff I told them was correct. Cats wasn't getting they just do. So they started acting up. It was like, hey, it's time to go, And that's really how that all began. That's where that whole split came in. That's how I departed. Same kind of situation. It was like I knew from the gate, but I had to wait. I had just like, all right, what, let me set myself up, get my studio straight, and I'll start producing and move in that direction. Because I don't think I really DJ for nobody else. That was my take on it, really. It was like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and produce because I can do that. And I could put cats out and, DJ's got 9 lives, so it's like, why not? You can produce tons of people.
So then, evidently not coincidentally, but soon thereafter, or around this time, you got with Kwame. So how did it happen and what made you guys work so well together?
So it ended up happening is in that situation, I'll paraphrase. The 3 Times Dope situation came about because I was up with Chuck Nice. I mean, he and I were really good friends, obviously, crew deep, blah, blah, blah. We're up there and we were working on, he did 3 songs on Let the Hustlers Play. I was kind of down in the dumps and still thinking about what's my name. So my mind was in the past. Like, damn, we working on got a new record coming. Really? We got a perfectly good record right here that they dropped a couple singles and, okay, next record. I'm like, man, that's whack. So I was like, all right, cool. I couldn't really get over it, to be honest. So we got done working. It was like 5 a.m. We had been working all night on these songs. And we started talking. He's asking me stuff, similar to what I said, like on the fan type of tip. So what was it like to do this? And what was it? What about this? And then I just kind of let it go. I was like, man, Cats is not making the money they should be making. What are you talking about? What you mean? Woo, 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 woo. And then that just turned into, a snowball effect. Just boom, boom, it started going. And that's when they started digging around. Then it got back to management that I let the cat out the bag. So I was like, all right. It's like, man, it is what it is. All of a sudden, we got checks. They just came. Here, you get a check. And you get a check. Where's the cat? You get a check. His checks just came from nowhere. I was just like, oh, wow. I'm looking like, interesting. Got a check after all this time? A check? Really? Some thousands of dollars. I'm like, wow, where's the rest of it? That was my response. So it was a cool little check. It was all right, like 15, 16K or something like that. I was like, what's this shit? Where's the rest of it? So then the contracts came. And it was like, all right, if you want to get more, la, 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 you got to sign this contract. Woo, woo, woo. And I was like, flipping through it like a 10, 12 year, because it's legal. Like, can you even do this? I mean, I was like a, mini lawyer because I was on my game. So I'm just sitting there looking like, well, guess what? I ain't signing this. I was like, all right, you know what? I ain't signing this. I'm good. I said, I probably can't say it that way, but we might have to finesse it a little differently. So I was like, all right, you know what? I started rapping to my lawyer and he was like, just do it like this, do it like that, And comes this signing stuff, I'm not out of town. You ain't signing nothing without me, being present or being aware of it. And that was my story and I stuck with it. So that became the straw that broke the camel's back in a sense. So it was like, all right, well, if you ain't signing nothing, I guess you ain't down. And I guess I'm not. So then it turned into, well, you're on pause. You can't do any shows and you can't. I can't what? And a young buck, you looking at dudes like, especially an older person, like, you must be out of your mother freaking mind. I can't what? And that's where I was at. So I was just kind of like, it's like, yeah, all right, cool. Guess what? Let me get all my stuff, all my records, because all the stuff we sampled came from all my records, all the stuff. So any kick drums, loops, you name it. I had all these records at the place, you know, at the studio, whatever, at his place. And I just started scooping all my stuff up. Got one of my boys and came over. One of my big homies came over and he was like, damn, like this is really going down. And we had like a couple shows. It was like a show in like Kansas City and Texas or something like that. And it was like, well, if you don't sign a contract, you can't. I'm like, okay, this is the game, huh? So it's like dangling in front of my face. Really? Fuck them shows. I don't care about them daggone shows. I care about my livelihood. I ain't stupid. 2 fingers, I'm out. And that's how it bounced. And that was actually when, right coming back from the Gotta Have It video. Because if you've seen the video, I'm in the first part of it, but I'm not in the second half. Strategically. He signed the contract. So we can't give you all that light. You know, it's one of them deals. I was like, yeah, cool. That's no problem. It's cool. So that's when the move on came. EST found out that I was out of there. You know, the word kind of got out that I was fired. I was like, I was fired? No, I left. But it's all good. Paint the story how you want. Say what you gotta say. But an integral part of your camp is gone now. Somebody who was not just DJing, somebody who was producing records, because the Giddy Up was my baby. But I never got credit for it. It's all good. It's all good. I know what it was. I came up with the whole everything, and I just kind of got pulled out from under my feet.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.